Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a really long video and show you my entire collection of perfume, not including samples and decants, but like everything that comes in an original bottle, regardless of size. And these are going to come in no particular order. Some of them, it doesn't mean just because I own it that I recommend it, so I'll kind of comment along the way, but not maybe, I won't go into like super detail about each fragrance, but part of my mission to even having YouTube channel is that I want you to not waste money, and I want you to spend your money on the right kinds of fragrances. And of course, this is my personal opinion, but I can tell you, for example, which ones I've kind of gotten tired of, which ones might have, low performance, which one is not worth the money, things like that. Things that I appreciate. When I listen to other reviewers, I do appreciate these kinds of things. Some of these fragrances might be discontinued. Some of them I think are really worth maybe trying to find, or like if you stumble across a deal, maybe look at that. Most of them are available still. Some of them I'm about to let go, and I'll tell you kind of as I go through all these fragrances. But I have about 50, a little under 50 full bottles, that I mean 30 milliliter or bigger. And then I have some mini, travel size and things like that, maybe like 10 or 15 of those. So that gives you an idea about how long this video is going to be, and how much I'm going to be talking about. And I have a little bit, they're grouped a little bit. Why don't I start with kind of like older types of fragrances that I call vintage. There I have my first video. I talked about my first love, my signature scent is Safari by Ralph Lauren. Oh, by the way, before we jump into this video, I just want to say that today, my fragrance of the day is Oud and Ambre. I'm kind of giving Cartier Ouds a chance again, but I've worn this like all morning, and it's a pretty Oud and Ambre. Those are the only two notes that they give us, but there's a lot more going on in there. I think there's maybe some incense, there might be some spices in there, but I still get the opinion, my opinion is still that this is kind of like only base notes. And therefore, I feel like it's not, I feel like I'd like to layer it with something. It's kind of like all down here. And it kind of feels kind of nice in the colder weather to wear it, but I still feel like it's not a fragrance that I would be willing to pay big bucks for. And we're talking like 75 mil is like $400 or a little bit more. So that's totally not worth it to me, but I am enjoying wearing it today. Okay, so Safari Ralph Lauren, it's a powdery, luxurious, super feminine, according to my nose, fragrance with green notes in the top, kind of like galbanum, a little bit bitter, and there's like all these florals. It's a typical like 90s kind of scent, but so much better than everything else out there. I think this is a 10 out of 10. I love this fragrance from like the first sniff. It's a little sharp once when you first spray it on, but if you wait 10-15 minutes, it's with you all day long. It projects. It makes me feel super sophisticated, and I'm just kind of giving off the perfect amount of fragrance. It makes me think of castles and chandeliers and silk dresses and high heels and things like that. I don't know why it's called Safari. I think the bottle says everything else. I mean, who would bring this out on a safari? What is the connection with wild animals? It could be maybe that there's like grassy notes in here, like green notes, but to me, this is all just kind of like upper class, classy, sophisticated kind of fragrance. Okay, and so I also have the EDT Boucheron, which I also kind of had. Safari, I've been through like bottles and bottles of since my young adulthood. This fragrance, I had a bottle back in the day. So I bought it from somebody, or I swapped it, I think. It was mostly for nostalgic reasons. I'll have to admit, I don't use it that often. But I like it, and it reminds me of when I was young. It's kind of a vintage kind of floral. These were so typical back in the day. It's kind of like, it's not like Chanel No. 5. It's not so aldehydic, this one, but it has like a kind of like a fruity top, very many florals, and a little patchouli in the base. It's really good, but I can see that people might think that this is a little bit mature compared to what comes out, like new releases, new typical launches like of 2023. And the same thing goes for 24 Faubourg from Hermés. This one gives me the same vibe, like a little bit, it smells like a mature woman. but I think it's really beautiful. I put these two definitely in the same category. Safari's a little more powdery. These two are a little more transparent. I wear them, I choose these like at family events, maybe like a funeral or like a family get together when I kind of want to feel traditional or something like that. And then I have a small mini of Mousse de Cartier from Cartier, and I got this from a dance friend, and it's also very vintagey. This one is like over 3 decades old, and it does remind me a little bit of, where do I have that? I'll come to that. Chypre Palatin from MCDI. It's a really interesting kind of Chypre amber oriental type fragrance. It's like I have like 4 milliliters left. It's not like I save it, but it's really special, and it still projects really well. I don't know if it is like affected by age, because I don't know what it smelled like back then. But I really like having that in my collection. And then I have here Gris Noir from Armani. Really bad performance. So watch it with paying big money for this. I don't think it's worth it at all, although I do really love the fragrance. This was created by Natalie Lorson, I think. It's like an oud leathery, but I don't get much leather. It has rose. It's like really soft, really well blended, super beautiful, but I lose it like just a few minutes after I've sprayed it. I have to hunt for it on my skin. So I only have like just a little bit left. I probably would let it go if I knew exactly how much I had in here, but I'll probably end up giving it to someone because I really don't wear it. Sometimes I just stand and sniff it because it does actually give off some smell when I smell the top. Then I have a quite recent purchase, Vixere from Electimuss. It's a beautiful floral fragrance that kind of has it all. A super people pleaser, but in a niche kind of way. There might be something a little woody or incensey in the base here. For sure vanilla. Lots of different florals. A super interesting kind of, it's interesting yet people pleasing, I would say. But the sprayer has something has happened to the sprayer. So it's like I don't know if you can see this, but like it doesn't spray. See, I can't get anything out right now. So I have to kind of work to get it out. And when I get it out, it's just like a little, see, it's leaking now. So something is wrong with this sprayer, which I'm a little upset about. Had I bought it in store, I would have claimed it and I would have gone back and complained, but I bought it secondhand. I probably wouldn't have gotten that one if I already had Opera from Xerjoff. I got this afterwards. I bought it secondhand. It's quite pricey. It's really, really beautiful. The opening of this fragrance, I mean, nothing can beat the opening of this fragrance. It seriously is like fireworks, like candy, but in a sophisticated way. That doesn't stay, unfortunately, but I think the dry down is also wonderful, and the performance is better than Vixere from Electimuss, but I think those two, I wouldn't really need to have them both, so I might let one go. But there's something wrong with the sprayer, so I might have to hold on to it anyway. Okay, and then I have two from the Chanel, what's it called? Exclusives. It's Jersey, and it's the EDT. This is a violet fragrance. Is it violet? No, it's lavender. It's lavender. That's what it is. The violet one, I think, is Misha. That was Chanel's best friend. This one is really powdery, has really good projection. I like wearing it. Sometimes I feel like I might want to let it go, though, because I kind of forget to wear it. But it is good. It is good. I mean, it's not a 10 out of 10, but I really like it. And then one of my favorites is Le Lion. Came out a few years ago. It's in the EDP version. It's like it's very birch tarry kind of amber. It smells a little bit like a ship. But when it dries down, it becomes very warm and vanillic. I kind of hated it first and thought it was just too masculine and smoky, and then I kind of started loving it. I think it's a great fragrance, and it feels like something that I'll forever have in my collection. I haven't gotten bored with it. Every time I wear it, I'm like, wow, this is some fragrance. Really, really recommend Le Lion from Chanel. And I think this one, Iris Prima from Penhaligon's, might be discontinued. It's a soft suede iris, which I think is really a beautiful fragrance. Very wearable. I wear it a lot. It's a super easy grab. I feel like it's so soft. It's so, it wouldn't bother anyone. It's a beauty. And my other one from Penhaligon's, I only have these two, is Artemisia, which is a nice floral, luxurious, buttery floral fragrance. It also has tea. It has green apple. There's some other interesting notes in here. And the interesting thing about this one is, like, when I first got it, I got like a little travel size or a little vial from someone, or a decant or something, and I was like, this is boring. But then I found that I just kind of went through that so quickly, and I always felt like wearing it. And what I really appreciate about it is that orris-y, that buttery orris. I think that's what is where that luxurious buttery undertone is coming from. It's super, super beautiful. I love these. I mean, these two Penhaligon's fragrances, I think they're so wearable. These two are the exact kind of fragrances where I really should have 100 ml because they're so wearable. Then I have a discontinued bottle of Amber Gris from Balmain. This is about 15 years old, this particular bottle, and that's, I think, about when it came out too. This is like it's like an ambery, I mean, amber and ambergris, two different things, but these, in this fragrance, they're actually combined. So it's kind of has a little bit of a marine quality. Oh dear, something has happened to the top here. It's kind of going, it's a little bit spicy. It's a little bit marine, but it doesn't go all the way and become a beach fragrance. So I think it can be worn all year round. I think it was marketed towards women when it came out, but I find it totally unisex. I think it's really, really nice. Everyone that I've let try this, they really say that it's a beautiful fragrance. I split some of it, but now I'm going to keep the rest. This is a 75 ml bottle. It's leaking a little bit. When I did this, drops came out. I don't know. Maybe the bottle is just not that great quality, but I love the fragrance. We'll be holding on to that. Another pure summer fragrance. This is I haven't organized these in different groups. Is Musc Palawan from Lorga Parfums. This is a beautiful, it says musk, ylang ylang, and vanilla on the label, but it also is like, it's very tropical, but I also find that it has like exotic fruits of some kind in here. And it was kind of one of those fragrances I had to get used to a little bit. I had a little decant and I wore it, and I kind of like, I don't know about this fragrance, and then it kind of grew on me. And then finally I bought the bottle from the person who gave me the decant. Because she had a difficult time with this one. And I know that I think anyway that the perfume guy, Sebastian, feels the same way, because I think he was like trying to be polite because, he wants to be, he maybe wants to collaborate with this brand or something, but it was pretty obvious that, he says it's a solid release, but you could tell he didn't love it. So this is not for everyone. But the quality of this line is incredible. I think I've tried something else from this line, can't remember right now. It's so beautiful, and the packaging is really beautiful too. Maybe the top a little bit oversized and a little bit overly heavy, but I really find that this is an interesting fragrance. And along the same lines, that's something that's a little bit similar, comes from the Swedish house Linda Landenberg. She's a Swedish perfumer. It's called Bisous. I guess this is something as a word that like French people say to each other when they're like saying goodbye or hello or something, like it means hugs or something. This has a really tropical vibe as well, and there's several notes that are the same as in Musc Palawan, but in here this also has like some cacao. This has, or I think maybe it's even chocolate, but I can't pick that out of the composition. And I was ready to let this go for a while because I thought it was too odd, and I know some people find it odd, but then like on a hot day it's so refreshing, and I decided to hold on to it. There was a point where I got a lot of green banana kind of smell in this, like almost going to like petroleum, like a weird, I don't like bananas, and I wasn't sure that I could live with like the smell of green banana, but then I kind of got used to it and kind of reframed that and put other words on it. And now I just find that it's just such a refreshing, for those of you who live in hot weather, you might want to check this out. I don't know how easy it is to find when you're overseas, but in Sweden you can get it. I think she does ship to other countries. It says LL. I think that the name of the brand is, it's Linda Landenberg. She is also the perfumer behind the brand Savor, Savour. And now we're like, I might as well talk about my summer fragrances. My favorite lemon fragrance or the one in my collection that I really, really, probably my only lemon fragrance is Cedro de Diamante from Paris Monte Carlo. The performance is really, really bad, but it is incredibly wonderful. When you spray this lemon on, it's like, wow, it's so fresh. And I have a hard time sometimes with citrusy fragrances, and I like neroli and citrus, and sometimes I feel that they smell of some kind of something you would clean the house with, but this one is just so refreshing and uplifting. And sometimes I add it onto other fragrances as well. Like it's coming out of the shower kind of fragrance, because it lasts maybe 30 minutes. But I do think it's worth it, like it's worth it anyway, because I think no, I swapped this with someone. That's what happened. I gave her Col de Bahrain from Stefan Humbert 700 and Lucas 777 because I think they're about the same retail price. And I had fragrances that were so close to each other that I wasn't wearing that one. I do miss that bottle though, because it was so beautiful. Another summer fragrance that is incredible is Escale en Indonésie from Les Indemodables. And this fragrance is the most beautiful take on ambergris that I've ever smelled. And the funny thing is with this one, I couldn't even smell it at first. Like I was able to buy this really, really cheap as a tester bottle when we went up to this little shop called Fragrance and Art in northern Sweden. And she sold it to me because it was in her basement and she was kind of clearing out. And I just thought it was an interesting combination of notes because I was kind of researching on Fragrantica. And then I couldn't even smell it on myself. So it took like a few, I didn't give up though. So I had to give it like a few full wearings just to be able to like catch it. And then when my nose kind of learned to find it, it just blew me away. It has some citruses, but mostly it's about the ambergris. And they've used natural ambergris in here. And it's just, if you can get a hold of this, get your nose on it. It is, I highly, highly recommend. Oh, it's so beautiful. Then I have another one kind of in that same category that is a little bit more challenging. And it's from the house Affiniscence, and it's called Musc Ambergris. And this one also has like notes of truffle, I think. This one smells a little more kind of like, I just have to spray it, just kind of remember. It's a little bit more like a sweaty armpit or skin, or it smells a little bit like dirty hair, but in kind of a nice way. I mean, I do like this, but I feel like it's not a finished fragrance. This was a swap. I gave her Remarkable People from État Libre d'Orange. I never wore it. That was kind of an interesting fragrance, but I got a little bit of plasticky vibe from it. This one, I think that the ambergris is not natural in this fragrance, because I think there's a huge difference with this one. But I find I kind of like the dirtiness in it, and I like to combine it with other fragrances. Like you would maybe like a molecule type of fragrance. You would use this to kind of build something. I could wear it maybe with the lemon fragrance here, or one of the tropical fragrances, or just kind of something, maybe some floral fragrance to give it more of a base. This is an interesting house. It's called the Base Note Collection Note du Fond. So they're basically focused on base notes. So I find that interesting. What else have we got here? Speaking of État Libre d'Orange, I have two fragrances from them. This is one of them, Bijou Romantique. It's a really nice kind of ambery, vanillic fragrance with a little bit of iris, I think. And there's also some trademarked ingredient here that I can't quite remember. It's not super unique, but it's really, really nice. And I got it kind of at a cheaper price as well. And then I have another one from the house also, and it's called True Lust. And I very seldom wear this, but it is a beautiful floral, slightly leathery fragrance with also, it has a hint of coconut, and it has a little bit of booze in here, I think, like a little rum. So it's kind of like a little of everything. It's not really beachy, but it's an interesting fragrance. Yeah, why don't I wear this more often? Because I like it. I think I find with this house, there are lots of likes, but very few loves. I I can't say that this is like really much like another fragrance that I know, but it's a little, maybe it's a little on the light side, maybe a little bit too floral. I'm not quite sure why I don't wear it more, but I don't. Okay, so I have another fragrance here that I'm kind of a little bit considering letting go, and it's called Santal Complète from Fragrance du Bois. This is the only fragrance that I have from this house, and I think that they are in general overpriced. This particular bottle I got secondhand, and it was like 2/3 full, and I can't remember what I paid, but it was a pretty good price. Not half. I had to pay a lot more than that because you rarely see this on secondhand sites, at least not here. The problem that I have with this fragrance is that it doesn't last. I really, really like it, but I don't know. If it performed better, I would wear it more because I think it is really beautiful sandalwood fragrance, and it's kind of like opened the door for me to other sandalwoods. I think this has like violet, sandalwood, a really nice lemon note. Let's see what else is in it. Like, I think maybe there's some pepperiness in here. It's really special. It has a little bit of a spiciness, but it's really like, I don't know. I think this fragrance is special, but there is another fragrance in my little collection here. Where did I put those fragrances? Oh, here. That does remind me a lot of it, and I have a travel size of it, and it is Jazz Club from Maison Margiela Replica. Who would have thought? You know, this is marketed kind of as a boozy, smoky fragrance, but to me, it has so much sandalwood. It also has that little feeling that there might be coconut lurking in the background. I don't know if I said that this has a little bit of a coconut background. And so does this, to my nose. I'm not sure if it's listed, but the performance of Jazz Club is so much better than Fragrance du Bois, Santal Complète. So don't recommend, even though I'm going to probably be holding on to this. I might actually swap it with someone, because if I sell it, I'll basically lose my money, and I don't like the idea of losing money, so I tend to swap instead. Another fragrance that I'm considering actually letting go of, that I really, really liked this. It's Metallic from Tom Ford, and I didn't get it when it came out. I got it like 2 years ago, and I was just like blown away. I thought it was so creamy and balsamic and musky and beautiful, like vanilla. But now I am actually getting that little hint of blood that people sometimes talk about. You know, it's called metallic, and maybe for a reason. My nose really couldn't pick that up. And I like it, but there's something about it that kind of, let's see, I've just got to spray it for, I don't think I would have purchased it today. But the performance is great, and I know like men wear this too, and I know at our local department store, they've even moved this fragrance up to like the special men's section because so many men have asked for it, because it was marketed towards women to begin with. Did I say this was from Tom Ford? It's from Tom Ford. I mean, it's good. It's just that, you know, I don't know. I don't really know why I don't wear it anymore. And I did write down, like when it was new, that it weighed 204 grams. So I could probably figure out somehow like how much there's left, and I could probably sell it, but I don't know. I don't know what will happen about that one. I have a hard time with covered bottles. I prefer when you can actually see the juice. There are lots of good reasons for that. Then from Christian Dior's exclusive line, I only have this. This is the only one that I have left. I've had some others pass through my collection, like Gris Dior, a bunch of different ones, or not a bunch of different, but a few different ones. I have New Look 1947, and I do find this really beautiful, but I'm not sure I recommend it because I think that the performance is a little bit too bad. It's a little bit of like a musky, powdery, floral fragrance. I think there's some tropical flower in here, maybe ylang ylang. It has a little bit of a vanillic quality, but it's not like a vanilla fragrance. It's a really nice fragrance, but the performance sucks. So actually don't recommend, but I probably will hold on to it because I love it. And I do think it's special. Like, I don't think it reminds me of a bunch of other fragrances. A fragrance that I really love from the designer world is, what is this one called? Flower by Kenzo. And this is the ED, let's see, I think it's the EDP. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's the EDP. I just accidentally got a bottle with this much left, and then I just fell in love with it. I wore it so much, and then I found this on some good site. I got a good price. It's a beautiful vanillic, incensey floral. So it has a little rose, it has vanilla, it has some incense and musk. It's a beautiful fragrance. I know Natalie Lorson was asked the question, what perfume do you wish that you had created? And she answered this one. So this is special. And I think this definitely has niche quality. This is my opinion. Because it's very different from most other designer fragrances. Another fragrance that I mostly wear in the summertime, and it's kind of like curl up and be cozy on the couch kind of fragrance, is Koala by Zoologist. And it's the only one I have from the house. This is not like a perfume. This is more of a, all their fragrances are kind of like take their inspiration from the animal's natural habitat. So this is a lot of like eucalyptus, and it's kind of like piney. It has some incense. It has some earthiness. It's really beautiful, really kind of like piney and like oily eucalyptus. I really think that they've captured that in this fragrance. It's very cute and cozy and comforting. And this is a really unique fragrance. There's nothing that I have smelt that reminds me of this at all. So I do find this Koala really, really special. And I love the bottles and the presentation. It's kind of a leathery top. I love that fragrance. And then we've got, here I've become a little bit of a gourmand. I have a little small bottle of Lira from Casamorati Xerjoff. It's kind of a lemony, caramely gourmand. I'm sure it has some woodsy notes maybe in the base. I don't wear it all that much, but I do appreciate that fragrance. Then I have two full-size bottles from Perfumum Roma, Patchouli and Orangea. And these are like total opposites. This is a really nice fragrance in the summer. It's like a really green, it has like some kind of orange, it's petitgrain is the main note in here. And it also has mint, but like petitgrain is like the broken up green branches from the orange tree. And I'm sure it has like some other orangey quality. Maybe it has orange flower. I think maybe there's some cedar wood in here. This is really, really refreshing, but very sharp in the opening. So here, this one you have to wait for. And I kind of get a beachy quality, like there's a little bit of coconut going on maybe in the background. Not listed though. Super, super beautiful. I love that one. I'm not going to split any more of it because I'm just going to use it all up. The patchouli is a very deep, dark, kind of chocolate cake kind of fragrance. Like a dry, not too sweet chocolate cake that kind of is almost a little bit minty. This has a really difficult opening. You have to wait for the dry down like a full 15 minutes. Then it stays on all day. It projects. It is incredible. You don't need much of it. It'll probably take me a decade to get through this, but I really, really love it. Let's see what else I've got here. Oh yeah, this is my only dupe in my collection. I just recently picked this up. It's called Pineapple Vintage, and it's a dupe of Aventus for him, like Creed Aventus. I just think that Creed Aventus is the greatest fragrance on men, but I don't want to pay that kind of money. I don't think I'll wear it myself, but I just wanted a little squirt of that, something like that in my collection, and I paid like nothing for this. So, yeah, and I think that this brand is called, it says Emperor Extrait. Parfum Vintage, I guess they call themselves. I think maybe they have fragrances of their own as well. I'm not sure. I kind of believe in, supporting the originals and the creators and everything. I don't believe in dupes. This is kind of an exception. Then I have a Swedish house here. It's a nice kind of fragrance that reminds of Dior Homme Intense, and it's called Liberi. And the house is called Odore Mundi. I think they've gone out of business. It was these two young guys put together an organic brand. So this, I think, would be hard to get a hold of. I won't talk too much about that. And this is another Swedish perfume. The perfumer's not Swedish, but she uses all natural ingredients. And I know the woman behind this brand. Her name is Natalie, and her brand is called Naheli. This particular fragrance is called W for wood. And it's a nice kind of woody. This reminds it's a kind of a little bit similar to Chypre Palatin from MCDI. A little bit of, an older version of opium. It's ambery, it's patchouli, it's kind of like earthy. What else is in here? I'm not quite sure everything she's used, but it's nice to have a natural fragrance from someone that I know and I want to support, and I really enjoy wearing it. Great performance it has too. Oh, I forgot this summery fragrance when I was talking about summer fragrances, Electrolimonade. I don't wear this very often, but the opening and the citruses in this fragrance are incredible. I mean, it kind of, when it just hits you like, oh, wow. And it's like all these different citrus notes. I think it has like grapefruit and blood orange and lemon and bergamot and like a bunch of different citruses together. Like both sweet and maybe a little bit bittersweet. Maybe a little bit tart and sour. This might have rhubarb too. I get something like that, but it also has kind of like a, when it dries down, it becomes a little bit more like incensey and woody. And it kind of disappears a little bit. I'm not really happy with like long-term performance of this one. I just love the opening though. And it's really special, really unique. But the performance in the long run is bad, unfortunately. Next is this one, Ambrette de Noir from Erin. This one I've been considering letting go. I never wear it. It's kind of in the same category as this one. It's like a, it's kind of like a musky vanilla. It has some florals. It's really like, it's kind of a seductive scent, you know, like everybody would like this. It's like a real easy wear, like to go out in. It's a little bit of a darker fragrance. It would fit like in it for any occasion. I don't find it super unique. I got it at a kind of a good price. And now they've raised the prices, so this is actually quite pricey now. Then I have Lost Alice from Musc Milano. I've talked about this a lot recently. It's a kind of a milky chai fragrance with sandalwood. I was a little bit unsure when I first got it, but I find it really beautiful. But had I had the chance to like replace it today or buy something different, I would have gone for Blanche Bête from Liquide Imaginaire. Unfortunately, they only sell, I think, their bottles in 100 milliliter bottles, and this is a 35. But it is really beautiful. I do wear it a lot. It works all year round. Lost Alice, I think it is really a beautiful fragrance. Then my most recent purchase is Rosendo Mature No. 7. It's an Oud Patchouli vanilla fragrance. It's a beautiful, like a resinous amber, smoky. It's a semi-gourmand. I just love it. Highly recommend. I have Terrific Oud Extreme from Terry Gunsberg. This one I spoke about the other day in my Oud video. One of my friends says that this smells like a London taxi driver and it smells kind of like a sweaty armpit. I don't agree at all. I think it's beautiful. It's a very wearable oud. I think it's stunning. And then I have this little tiny squirt of oud from MFK. It's the Extrait. I love this take on oud. I think it's so beautiful, but I can't get myself to buy a full bottle because I don't wear it. I just sniff it. I just stand and sniff it. And I love to bring it out and sniff it, but I don't actually wear it. I don't really know the reason. And then I have Oud Satin Mood. I consider this one of my absolute best fragrances. I have the Extrait. It's just a masterpiece, 10 out of 10. Then I have these two from Pigmentarium, this Czech Republic house, and one is Eroticon, and then one is Murmur. And Murmur is the one that has kind of like this rose oud patchouli, kind of like Oud Satin Mood, but it has animalic. It has some animalic notes as well. I think it has like civet, it has musk, and the oud I think is quite animalic. So it makes it a little bit more of a difficult wear than Oud Satin Mood, and not that much of a beast mode either. So some people might find it easier to wear. And then there's Eroticon, which is like a chocolate, ginger, vanilla fragrance, which is really beautiful, but it also has these animalic qualities, just like Murmur. So those are pretty interesting, and I think that they come in 50 ml bottles. I think that they're around $100, so not that bad. Nothing that I would blind buy, but if you stumble across them, please sniff them. Then I have from Linda Landenberg's brand line Savor. It's called Flavor of Love. It's a beautiful iris. It has a little bit of coriander. And like €20 out of every sold bottle goes to the Rainbow Fund that supports like gay rights all over the world, which I think is a really good cause. But I would never buy it just because if I didn't like the fragrance, and I really do like the fragrance. I love iris. Maybe not the most unique iris, like a beautiful middle line kind of iris. It has a little bit of that carrot seedy quality. that can be difficult for some people. So if you're not used to iris, then I would recommend another fragrance. I'll get to it. Is Iris Dragées? Let's see. I'm not set up very well here. This one is a perfect beginner's iris. If you're not used to iris and you think it's a little bit sharp, a little papery, a little dry, this one is like an iris semi-gourmand where it's combined with a little bit of like brown sugar. I think it might have like almond. I've been considering letting this go because I find it a little bit too like uninteresting, non-challenging. I'm just, you know, like done with it. I've passed this stage. But the bottle is kind of like making me hold on to it. I mean, look at that. It's so incredibly beautiful. The only thing is that I wish that the top was gold and not white. But then I wore it the other day and I really, really enjoyed it. But I do find like Linda's fragrance, Flavor of Love, is a little bit more interesting. There's a spicy note in here. I do appreciate a little bit that earthy quality, maybe over this. But I might actually, you know, hold on to this after all. Let's see, I have this little tray here. Why don't we continue here? Arbolé from Here I'm Green, beautiful patchouli fragrance. It's like a tonka vanilla powdery patchouli, kind of like a greenish patchouli. It's a little bit gourmandy and green at the same time. It kind of went from a hate to a love, where I first thought this smelled like cough syrup, and then I kind of, or like a little bit licoricey almost. And this is one of those fragrances where you have to wait. And I find that a lot about patchouli fragrances. They're not good the first 15 minutes. You have to wait for them to kind of like settle down on the skin and kind of like start becoming a little bit more sweet and not just sharp. Love this fragrance. And then I have from Chanel, number 19 Poudre, one of my absolute favorite fragrances, but haven't worn it for a long time. It's like a powdery iris fragrance. I don't know why I don't wear it so much. I mean, I guess it goes through periods. It's a little bit aldehydic. I don't know. Maybe I prefer my other irises right now. I'm not quite sure. I really appreciate Poudre d'Or from Maison that I just tried. It's kind of a creamier and a little bit more like heliotrope-y. This one is just slightly more challenging, I think. I don't know. I'm a little bit off of it right now, but normally I would say that it's like in my top 10 fragrances. But right now I'm just, I don't know, a little bit on the fence. Then I have 4 fragrances in the travel size from Parfums Roma. I just got rid of Batito Dali. I swapped it, but I have Rosa Mundi, which is a rose patchouli fragrance. Maybe one, I think that I want to let that go because rose doesn't really intrigue me so much, and I have others that I prefer. If I want to use patchouli, I have so many others. I have the Rosen du Matin number 7. If I want rose, I have other fragrances to wear as well. It just sits there, and I don't wear it for some reason. And then I have Vanitas, which I kind of regret buying. I didn't pay so much money for it. I got it secondhand, but it's so girly. It's so like, it smells like vanilla. It's like an orange flower and vanilla fragrance. It just doesn't give me anything. I think that one has to go. Antico Caruso I think is quite unique, actually. This is a lemony, almondy kind of morning time fragrance with a little bit of a gourmand touch. Like something baked with lemon in it, maybe. It's really, really nice, but it does lean a little bit masculine. But I really love that fragrance. It's just different. And then Suavissima, I might let this go. This is like a really kind of heavy iris fragrance because it's super, super powdery. And it's like heliotrope, I think, in this one. I don't know if it's listed, but this is what I get. It has that real powdery, almondy quality. It's a little bit too loud. It's but maybe I'll keep it and just see if I'll wear it more in the summer. I really loved this fragrance when I got it. I really loved it. I mean, it was one of my top fragrances, but now not so much. Then I have Carnal Flower, a 10 milliliter, is a beautiful tuberose with like a coconut and green kind of twist. This was created by Dominique Ropion. I like that they put the perfumer's name on the package. And I like the fact that it has this little, it's spray, and that they sell them in these little boxes. Otherwise, I typically don't like the presentation from Frederic Malle, and it's the only fragrance I own. But I do very much love Musc Ravageur, and I would like to have a bottle. I think it is like the perfect fragrance. And then I've got a travel size of Lumière Noir from MFK. This is really similar to Rosa Mundi from Parfums Roma. I think Parfums Roma is slightly better. So this one is a little bit, I don't really need it. I've kind of tried to swap it, but people don't really know it. So it's kind of remained in my collection. So maybe I'll just end up giving it to someone that likes it, or I'll try to use it. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Then I have Tolu from Ormond Jane. It's my only Ormond Jane fragrance. This is a beautiful amber, a resinous amber, and it has a lot of floral notes too. But I have so many ambers, so I probably won't go full bottle on this. It'll take me forever just to go through this. But it's really, really pretty. Really recommend this. It's a really easy wear. If you're considering buying an amber and you want something kind of easy, but still kind of really makes you feel like you're well perfumed, this Tolu is, I do highly recommend it. Then I have Love Don't Be Shy from by Kilian, just this little travel size, and I've worn it quite a few times, and there's still only this little tiny dent in it. It's really, really strong orange blossom. It's like an orange blossom sugar fragrance, like a marshmallow fragrance. I really appreciate owning this little amount. And I think it's like a real safe bet, like anybody would like it, but it's really sweet. So yeah, that was that one. And then I have Bottega Veneta from Bottega Veneta, the EDP for her. This is a little bit similar to Iris Prima from Penhaligon's, but I have a special association to this fragrance. Like a mentor of mine that used to coach me in business, like this really rich man from the Middle East, he would always wear this. He wore this for years, and I never knew what he was wearing. I didn't dare ask, and then I finally asked, and it was this. And he doesn't care that it's marketed towards women. The funny thing is his taste is more like you would think a Swedish woman would be, and my taste is more like an Arabic man. I like these heavy, oud fragrances. He hates oud, or he finds it really, really hard to wear, and he loves neroli and things like that. But this actually has a soft leather note, like suede, combined with jasmine and beautiful florals. It is a beautiful scent. This is one of my favorite designers, along with the Flower by Kenzo. And I have a few more little ones here from the house of Maria Candida Gentil. They have these nice little bottles that are 15 milliliter. And I have Sideris, which is an incensey vanilla, super beautiful floral incensey vanilla. Highly, highly recommend. And especially since they have this small size and they're very affordable. And I also have Burlesque that I might let go of. It's kind of an incensey iris. And I like it. I have so many other fragrances that I like and that I love that I would maybe choose over this one. But I think it's an interesting take on iris and incense is not a super common combination. And it also has, I think it might have some blood orange or something in here. It's interesting. I like it. Maybe I will keep it actually. And then I have this one from Envoy Voyage Perfumes. The perfumer is called Shelley Waddington. She uses only organic ingredients, and this one's called Lorelei. And this is such a beautiful floral fragrance. It might be the most beautiful fragrance in the floral category that I've ever smelled. It is like a Swedish summer night. You're walking through the neighborhood, and certain trees are just giving off these little clouds of floral sweetness this. It's so natural. It's a little bit like Hummingbird from Zoologist, if I remember correctly, and I think actually she's the creator of that one too. It might be another one from Zoologist. I think it's Hummingbird that is similar to this, but I very seldom wear this, and I don't know why. I think maybe I find it beautiful but not really super interesting maybe. But I do appreciate having it. I have no plans of getting rid of it or anything like that. Now we're getting back to these ones in the background. I have this little stand here. I'll show it to you. These are actually available, these little stands. You see it's like a little stairway. And you can put them in your closet and you can really get an overview of what you have. Oh, by the way, this is my 100th video, and this is going to be my longest video for sure, because I've kind of created kind of a big collection now. I think that I'm going to have like 50 bottles, and then I have like maybe 20 if I count all the minis too. This one is called Oud Ambre Extreme, and it's from L'Artisan Parfumeur, and this is old formula. This one I got at Fragrance and Art, also like a tester bottle for a really cheap price. It's a beautiful, slightly floral amber. I'm not sure like I could pick this out like next to other ambers in my collection. Like if I tried Tolu and this one side by side and waited for the long dry down, I'm not sure that I would be able to say that this is this one and this is that one, because I find that ambers are like in the dry down quite similar. I have like a whole little cup of decants of different ambers, and I find like a lot of the ambers quite similar. Like they're resinous, they're vanillic, they have benzoin and labdanum and all this kind of stuff. But I do find it beautiful, and I am no plans to get rid of it. I love the bottles. This is my only one from this house. And then I have the quite recent purchased one, Chypre Palatin from MCDI, that I swapped with a friend. What did she get from me? I think it was Caftan from YSL that I never wore. So I just recently had that in my collection. I don't think I'm like incense is not, I mean, I like it. I just don't, maybe, you know, if incense is the major theme, I don't typically like love it. But this one just has it all. This is a 10 out of 10. This is like, it has both vintage and it has modern qualities all in one bottle. It has kind of that, it reminds me kind of the sensual fragrances from my past, you know, from my young adulthood. And it also has kind of like modern oriental, it has a little bit of the Le Lion vibe. Like there's something tarish and smoky in here. It has some fruitiness, in the best way possible. It's just, there's so many layers in this fragrance, and there's so much to discover. And I don't know if this has been reformulated. This particular bottle, I mean, this unit here is, it's about, I think it's 8 or 10 years old. So I'm not sure if it's what it smells like today. Then I have this one that I got last summer. It's called Fauny from Angela Chiampagna. It's a beautiful incensey, floral, vanillic fragrance with some tuberose. The opening smells a little bit like bubble gum. It's very elegant. My only problem with this fragrance is the performance. I lose it like pretty quick after spraying it on, or it stays really, really close to the skin. And I think after like 4 hours, it's gone. That is a perfect fragrance if you want to like get in a car with people that you don't know, if you're going to be like in a small group or, you know, like a little area and you're going to be close to other people. This would be the perfect fragrance. The fragrance is beautiful though, and it is super, super unique. I don't know anything that smells like that. I love the opening of that. Then I have a classic staple, something I'll always have in my collection. It is Infusioned Iris from Prada. It is really, really beautiful. I love this. I love like forgetting about it and then coming back to it. I love to layer it with other things. I love to wear it on its own. I love to get out of the shower and just go wild with this. It is, it's benzoin, iris, mandarin, neroli, and cedarwood. I think it's stunning, base, good staple fragrance. Another one in the same kind of ballpark is Trench from YSL. It's now my only one, I think, from like this line. It's called Vestiaire line or something. This one has a little bit of fig in it. I thought this was kind of a subtle fragrance, but then I got told off by a customer, you know, one of my sick customers that I visit. I only had a hint of this on, and she's like, "Oh boy, your perfume is so strong." And I had to go wash it off, and she could still smell it. And I guess it's more powerful than you would think. It is such a beautiful iris. This one, I think, if you are a person out there listening who is sensitive to perfume, you should try Trench, because I think this would suit like anybody, man or woman. It is just so uplifting and fresh. Love it, love it, love it. And then I have Decas, which is a really nice fragrance from Xerjoff that has like a eucalyptus quality. It has some balsamic notes. I think there's like tuberose. It has tobacco, although I cannot pick that up individually at all. It has mandarin orange. I'm sure it has vanilla. it's just really special. This is a unique fragrance. And I know some people here in Sweden says it smells like a special kind of bubble gum that we used to chew when we were kids. I don't get that vibe at all, but like, I'm not sure how I would describe it. I find it kind of spa-ish, like something that you would smell at a spa. It's fresh, but it's warm. It's kind of feels like a, I don't think I would wear this like to a formal dinner. Then I would wear something more perfumey, like I would wear Chypre Palatin, or I would wear something like maybe Chanel No. 19 Poudre, or like a bigger fragrance. I would wear something like this, you know, like the Rosendo Matin, something I know that would be like, I would feel all wrapped up all night. Or maybe Ambrette de Noir, but I would not wear Decas. This is more of a, I really can't explain why, but I think maybe it's more of a kind of a room spray kind of goodness maybe, or something. Not sure. I think my favorite Xerjoff might be this one. It's Dhajala. It's kind of an herbal amber. It has galbanum in the top. I think maybe that's why I like it so much. I do like the note of the galbanum. It kind of chops off those sweet peaks with bitterness, like so they don't go too sweet. I mean, this one's not even on the verge of being too sweet. This is like a floral. It might have vanilla. It might have some resins as well, but it's not like a full-on amber, like Le Lion or Tolu or any of these guys. Or anything like ambers that look like this color. This is more of a floral fragrance with some amber qualities, I would say. And there's some other like herbs in the top, I think. It's really, really beautiful. A little bit powdery maybe. When I wear this, I really enjoy it so much. When I first bought it, I couldn't smell it that well. I couldn't smell it on myself, but other people could smell me. I don't know why, but now my nose can find it and I can kind of like appreciate it. Kind of an interesting phenomenon. I don't know why that happens. Then I have Genet, number 22 from Pierre Guillaume. This is a really interesting mint cacao musky fragrance. I think it has a note of wheat in there too. And it is really refreshing in the summer, but I can also wear it in the winter. It's an EDT. I wouldn't have bought this like full bottle, but I swapped it and I really I'm going to hold on to it. It has myrrh as well. I think myrrh is maybe one of, it smells a little bit like Coca-Cola, this fragrance. It's just interesting, like a chocolate mint refreshing kind of fragrance with a little bit of a Coke vibe. Like it a lot. I find it interesting. Then I have one from Van Cleef & Arpels that I've been considering letting go. It's called Precious Oud. It's not oudy at all, but it has like a balsamic quality. It reminds me a little bit of Black Orchid's Dry Down. And I don't like Black Orchid, I want to say. But then when I did go to the store, spray some Black Orchid on myself. Someone on Fragrantica wrote about this. That's why I kind of started thinking about it. And then I waited for the dry down like several hours later. And then I compared with this and they're really, really similar. So if you want a Black Orchid fragrance, but that is good from the beginning, get this one. I mean, I like this. It's just kind of, performance isn't great. It's kind of floral. It's nice. It's beautiful, but I kind of know it already. So I'm kind of done with it. And I find a little bit that with that whole house, it's kind of like, they're good basic fragrances, easy to wear, easy to like, but I'm kind of past them. And then this is one of my this was one of my favorites for a long time. It's an orange blossom vanillic floral fragrance. It's called Granada from Memo. This one gives me compliments every time I wear it. And I'm not the person that says I get compliments all the time. And one reason is because I don't. But I do get compliments ever so often because I'm out a lot. I meet people. I'm in all kinds of situations where there are lots of people. The dance floor is one place. But this one, it seems to really hit home with the guys. Like, guys really love this fragrance. And I think women really like it too, especially people that are not so much into niche. This is a perfect place to start. So highly recommend Granada, but I'll have to admit I don't wear it so much. This is kind of a flirty fragrance. It has pomegranate in it. So in some places it says grenadine, but I think grenadine is made from pomegranate, so maybe that's kind of just a different way of putting it. Okay, we're almost down to the bottom here. Maybe I'll make it under the hour. This is Overture from Amouage. This is a fragrance that I've been on the fence about. I bought it last summer at full retail price in Warsaw. This one you can't really find online discounted. Like when I know that you can find Amouage like Journey Woman and all kinds of other Amouage fragrances like for maybe around $200, but they're like $350 in the shops. But Overture is never among these. I can never see it online. It used to be like a Harrods exclusive, and now I think you can just find it kind of in certain stores that have a really wide selection. Our closest department store that carries Amouage does not carry this particular fragrance. This is like a really boozy, leathery, saffron, myrrh, incensey fragrance. It's like really, really potent. I would almost call it beast mode. It's not quite maybe as beast mode as Oud Satin Mood or, well, it practically is. I mean, my son wore one spray of this and it filled the whole upstairs. Like, I could smell it from like downstairs. That's how strong it was. But it does kind of a little bit calm down. It's pretty linear. Like when you spray it at first, it's not like not a huge amount of things happen. It kind of remains the same. It has like a Calvados accord, you know, like the liquor, the liqueur that has, it's made from apples. So I think it maybe has, it has apple, like it's apple brandy kind of feeling. I don't know. To me, there's a little bit, the problem that I have with this fragrance, I think, is that it has a little bit of a bready or almost yeasty kind of quality to it. I find it a little bit difficult. And I don't know if it'll grow on me, but the reason I'm holding on to it is that I paid so much for it. So I've been like selling and swapping decants from it and getting other, you know, expensive decants back. So I'm kind of like using it as like my fragrance currency to get, you know, other decants. But it's like the bottle also makes it a keeper. It's just so darn cute. I know some people think it's tacky. I think it's beautiful. It's a big fragrance. It's like a gourmandish kind of fragrance, boozy. It's one of the few boozy fragrances in my collection. I'm not so drawn to boozy fragrances, but so maybe I should have one boozy one and kind of just see what happens with my taste. Since I paid so much for it, I don't want to lose that money. I think that was it. Was that my last? No, I have one more. And this is discontinued. And I know this is a kind of a love-hate kind of fragrance. It is Orchid Soleil from Tom Ford. It's a creamy, lily tuberose kind of fragrance. Spicy, vanillic. I think it has chestnut. It's like whipped cream with florals, with white florals. And I understand that this is kind of a... It divides us into two groups. I can understand why people don't love this, but I do think that you should give it a chance and wait for the dry down, because you really have to wait for this one. And then it does stay on all day. This is Tom Ford. I guess I do have a few Tom Fords. I mean, I like it and I think it's really special, but if you are into it and want to get a hold of a fragrance like this, and I can see them like on sale, because I think it's since it is a difficult fragrance, I see a lot of people wanting to sell it. So you can actually, you know, keep an eye out for it if you're interested. If you can't find it, check out Hibiscus Palm from Erin, you know, Estee Lauder's line there. It reminds me a lot of this one, and I think there are also other ones that can be compared. So like if you're looking for a creamy tuberose, there are lots of other ones out there. But this one, there's something special about it. And I'm really happy to have it in my collection. So I think that was it. I think I've been through like the whole bunch, and it's been an hour. So that makes, it's about, you know, 1 minute per fragrance, I guess. And a little more because of all these little ones that I had. Okay, that was really fun. I hope you appreciated it. What am I missing in my collection? Do you have anything to recommend to me? Do you agree with me about what I've said about these fragrances? Please, I do not mind if you have a different opinion. And if I say something's not worth the money, maybe you won't agree. It's all just a matter of opinion. I'm no expert. I'm just kind of a really passionate nerd that just loves fragrance. I love to talk about it. I love to try it. I like to discuss it with others. It's just a whole lot of fun. I'm trying to kind of let things go, but I don't want to go beyond the 50 mark. So if I buy new stuff, I have to let other things go. I think this is a good amount. You know, if you can talk about all your fragrances within under an hour, that's pretty good. And then I also have some kind of ambition that if someone would blindfold me and put something under my nose, I would be able to say what fragrance it was. And I'm not sure that I could do that with like all my ambers, especially not if you count the decants, because I've got about 45 to 50 decants as well, and a lot in this category, because I do love ambers, like a lot. And I'm not sure, I wonder if I could do it with my other ones, like the iris, my different iris fragrances, like after they dry down a little bit. I'm not sure I could be able to distinguish all of them. Maybe. I think that like Trench and Iris, the Chanel one, Chanel number 19 Poudre, are quite similar. So yeah, that was my collection. Well, welcome back to my 101th video. I'm gonna keep going for a while. So that was all for today, guys.